It. Okay, fantastic. So we're going to move on to the last boss, Kil'jaeden. Now, Kil'jaeden, unfortunately, there's no public videos or public logs of post first intermission, or I don't know what you would call it, phase 2. It's only phase 1 and that going forward. But we're going to go through Kil'jaeden here. So Kil'jaeden, I'll give you some explanations, sort of what we're doing as well. So the first one is the Fell Claws ability. So Kil'jaeden, let's go through it here. Kil'jaeden fun times. This is actually one of the better attempts, so we're going to go through it. So that's Kil'jaeden. He's got legs, right? This was a fairly large ray that they used. Let's go through it. They have different markers assigned. You want to set up different markers, different quadrants of where the abilities are coming. So we're going to go through it step by step here. So the boss will be tanked close to the middle of the room here, and there's a good reason for it. You don't want him tanked in the dead center. Dead center is sort of the no-go zone for the first phase. You can see the bear tank taking him off to the side there. That's pretty much where you want him to start because of the singularity later on. The first ability, and this is a main ability of the entire encounter, is Armageddon. You can see little small swirls. You can see a big swirl. If you guys remember doing the boat back on, of course, our favorite zone, Dragon Soul, very similar. You want to soak these. If you don't soak these, raid-wide damage, you're going to die, right? So the tanks can take the big one. The raiders will take the small ones. You may want to assign who goes where, because once you take it, you can see not two people are running in. One guy was running into the second one, but he decided to run out. It actually leaves a lasting dot on you. There, it leaves a lasting dot for 1 minute. That dot does stack. So if you soaked one side, then you don't want to soak the next section. Similar to cakes, right? If you got one cake on Trilliax, you don't want to get the next cakes on normal because it's a stacking dot. But you want to soak them as often as possible, right? Especially if you're a very mobile player. The other ability here that's coming out is the what's it called? The Shadow Reflections. Now, they did change the Shadow Reflections a couple times, especially since 7.2. These are 7.25 ones. What happens is, it's big circles on the ground. Here, they decided to stack them. You will not be able to use this strat. You will not. So basically, it spawns a number of ads that can be destroyed, Erupting Dread Flame. They're casting the thing basically on the entire raid that need to be burned down super quick. You will not be able to stack them in on the higher difficulties because they will heal themselves and do extra damage if they're too close to other ads. So what you'll want to do is instead put them on different markers. So if the boss is here, you may want to put one by blue, one by moon, and one by where this warlock is right now. That way they're spread, and then you're dealing with them appropriately. Where is my note here? So the Wailing Reflection is the one that was removed. They're no longer doing that one. And then the Shadow Reflections, the Erupting ones, are the ones you want to kill. The next ability that's going to happen here, and this one's on a roughly a 55-second to a 1-minute timer, is the Rupturing Singularity. There is a big purple ball coming down onto the ground. You don't want to be standing under it, you want to be standing near it. That's really important. If you stand under it, what's another good ability? That, I'm trying to remember. What was another really good one? Tyrant Valari had an orb? Somebody had one. Somebody had an orb. Basically, if you stood under it, you died. Same kind of thing here. The first one always goes dead center, which is why we're not tanking him dead center. It's going to knock you back, and the way you want to position yourselves is into the corners. You want to get knocked back into the corner because that'll give you the most space to fly and land. Otherwise, you get knocked off the ship, the platform, and then you die. Look at the knockback. It knocks back everybody. So this guy was able to use his portal. Most players will not be able to use a portal, and it knocks you back quite far. So if you're in the middle section, right, like not soaking into the corners, it may knock you off, and then you will die. So again, here's Armageddon again. Because he already has a dot, this warlock cannot soak again. So there's the bear running over there. Everybody soaks them. People don't take damage, right? The physical one, you'll need to use like a major cooldown for soaking the big physical one. But that's it for the most part. I mean, those are the main abilities. There's also Fell Claws. Fell Claws is an ability where he uses it and you'll take more physical damage for X amount of time, and that's where there's a bit of a tank swap. All right, inevitable fate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tanks are getting destroyed here. There we go. They re-res the tank. They had a bad tank swap there. Now watch what happens with the next ability. The next one should be, there's the Fell Clause. Here's an erupting singularity. So at this point, singularity number 2 is where the raid leader will call a marker. You're going to call blue, moon, purple, whatever, and everybody has to run there, including the tank. This one is going to be, I think, yeah, by blue. So everybody runs by blue. Get there as quick as you can. Get knocked back, and then get to your Armageddon sides. This overlap is pretty tricky because you're going to get knocked back, and then you need to get knocked back into the right quadrant. So let's say I'm gonna draw you a picture, guys. I will draw everybody a picture so we know exactly what's going on. All right, so here I'm not gonna use my own strats. I'm gonna use this one. So here's the square, right? That is a square. If you get knocked, so let's say the singularity is in this section here. The further you are in, right? Well, then you're gonna get knocked back in this section if you're standing over here. If you're standing over here, you can knock back this way. If you're standing over here, you can knock back this way. If you're standing over here, you get knocked off the platform and you die and you look really stupid. So let's say I'm assigned. Let's put these into little 4 sections here, and you're all there. So let's put this into 4 little sections. Draw you guys a picture. If you are assigned to soaking Armageddons in this section, well, maybe you want to stand over here so you get knocked back over this way. If you're assigned to doing this section here, well, maybe you want to, put yourself over here so you get knocked back over here, right? But not over here, right? Again, that angle is really, really important. Same thing here. You'll get knocked back this way or whichever way, depending on where you're assigned to soak Armageddons. Again, depending on your raid size, there'll be fewer Armageddon puddles to soak. This is a 25-person raid, so they had how many puddles here? Let's go back for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks like 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. Can I not count there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9 puddles looks like, plus the tank one. So half your raid at a time is always going to have to soak. You can't use immunities as well. Immunities will count and they will help out. And then this is the first intermission. So during the first intermission phase, during the first intermission, he will fly up, and you'll be dealing with, fun time abilities. You can't really attack. You can attack him during this phase, but he takes so much reduced damage that it's not worth it. So don't really worry about casting your big Chaos Bolt and all that other crap. So the first ability here that's going to happen is Armageddon and Bursting Dread Flame. So we'll see how the live iteration goes. But basically, Armageddon, if you guys saw in Phase 1, soak the small puddles, as well as, the big puddle for the tank. At the same time, you have Bursting Dread Flame. These big circles, if you guys remember Il'gynoth mechanics, same kind of thing. It was a 10-yard circle. You want to overlap them, but not overlap them onto other players. Otherwise, you will take a huge amount of damage and die. Watch what happens. So here, he's standing at other people's Dread Flames. He's trying to go soak, and you can see here how he died. Bursting Dread Flame, 2 of them. He took his own, somebody else's, and then the Armageddon didn't even get cast off, right? The Armageddon's about to wipe the rest of the raid there, yeah. So you want to make sure you only get hit by yours. So the coordination, there's a singularity. You can see how it gets knocked back. The singularity will be quite complicated. But again, step by step, it's repeatable. It's a fun encounter. It's like Lei Shen with its own little twist here. I mean, it's all very predictable. It is on fairly strict timers. You'll want to soak like balls like Lei Shen. Again, that's why everybody loved Lei Shen, because it was very strict timers, controllable, great encounter. There's Armageddon. And again, if you don't soak the Armageddons, then you are going to take massive, massive damage. Armageddon Hail, Armageddon Blast. 4.7 million damage to everybody. If you fail to soak a single one of those, your raid is going to wipe. On normal, this 2.9 million damage. You're likely going to wipe as well on normal, because it's going to do a crap ton of damage. The dot itself is going to kill you. There's no way you're going to be able to sustain the healing requirement to do that. So Armageddon over everything. Over everything else, when you guys are doing this encounter, Armageddon Rain needs to be soaked, no matter what. You know what? If you have a stack of the dot already from Armageddon Rain Healer, so here, you know, this 800,000 damage every 2 seconds for 1 minute, and it stacks. If you are standing next to a puddle, and the person assigned to it is not standing next to the puddle or in the puddle, guess what? You should run over that puddle, take the 2 stack, and then stop the raid from wiping. Right? It's not, well, I wasn't assigned to that one. That's fantastic. Well, now you wiped. You wiped the entire raid because you weren't assigned to it and you couldn't, you know, adapt and think ahead. Well, it's better to have one person die or to throw lots of healing on one person rather than the entire raid wiping because you didn't soak, what's it called? The Armageddon Rain. So, so that's a great one. So could you have a stack, then immediately the second you can drop your second stack? Probably. I would imagine that's exactly how it works. It is not a magic debuff that it can be cleansed, right? It's not a physical one either. You can likely, I mean, it's all fire damage, but yeah, you can probably use immunities. I, again, didn't test Kil'jaeden this time around, but yeah. So we're going to go through the other abilities really quick here. I know Fat Boss does a really good job with their video. Bursting Dreadflame. So you have a big circle around you, right? Big circle around you, and you take lots of fire damage. If there's any other circles near you, you're probably going to die, like the Warlock in that video died. So you want to spread out. Focus Dreadflame is the other one. Now, Focus Dreadflame, you want to split the damage. So Kil'jaeden is going to, shoot fire at a person. The more people that are standing in that fire line, the less damage it does. If you guys remember the Paragons of Calaxy ability, the sniper ability, where you assign people to help soak the sniper shot, same kind of thing here. The other issue is a Focus Dreadburst goes off at the location of each player hit. There, Focus Dreadburst. Basically, anybody nearby. So let's say there is a beam coming from the rock to here, and if everybody's standing close to me right here, to help soak it so I don't take a lot of damage, that's fine. But on Heroic, you get Focus Dreadburst, and what it does is it's a splash. So if everybody's standing here, they all get splashed and they all kill each other. So what you'll want is a person over here, a person over here, a person over here, and a person over here to soak it. Right? You'll have designated soakers to use their damage reduction cooldowns, paladins, rogues, hunters, whatever, to help soak it. Again, this is an all mechanics intermission. This is not damage. Right? This is where your players can actually do mechanics and can be assigned to those kinds of things. So, don't stack everybody. They'll need to spread along that line so they don't splash damage onto themselves. Because again, it's 1.5 million damage. Right? 2 people standing next to each other, that's 3 million damage on top of Focus Dreadflame. You're going to die. So you need to spread out along that line, and it's a big 5-yard spread. The other abilities there for the intermission were, you get another Gale, so he takes next to no damage, right? It's not worth it. Rupturing Singularity that you guys saw, that was the big knockback, and then Armageddon was the Armageddon that you guys saw there earlier. Now, going into this next phase, and I mean, you can sort of logically, I mean, I've got it set up with my own strat that I need to update on our own forums. But in phase 2, you're dealing with the same kind of things. You're dealing with Bursting Dreadflame. Same kind of thing, does way more damage though, right? You're still dealing with Focus Dreadflame. So again, that's the one that you're soaking, all in phase 2. At the same time, you're dealing with phase 1 abilities, Fell Claws, Rupturing Singularities, and Armageddon. This is a fairly complicated phase, right? Phase 2 is going to be pretty challenging because you're dealing with Armageddon in phase 1, right? You're dealing with the Bursting from the intermission, right? There's the Armageddon. You're dealing with this ability. You're dealing with the Tank Fell Claws. The tanks are soaking their thing. You're dealing. You guys didn't see the Focus Dreadflame later on here. There, you're dealing with this ability at the same time. It's a lot of shit to deal with in phase 2. I mean, it's not going to be all overlapping. It's going to be one ability, the next ability, the next ability, and there should be very little overlap. But you can see here, it's going from Bursting, right? It's going from Bursting to Armageddon to Singularity, right? Lation was designed in a very similar manner, which like Raiders loved. And there's a Singularity, and then we'd be dealing with a Focus Dreadflame, right? So that is the order of abilities here, right? It was Bursting, Armageddon, Singularity, Focus Dreadflame. And do we see, I think they die here. You can sort of see here, there. The person had a marker over their head. Kil'jaeden does a big beam. That person's going to die now because, you know, no one's going to soak that. But it's one ability after another, after another, after another. And that's it for phase 2, right? Well, yes and no. The other abilities are the shadow reflections. Sorry, not this one. Phase 2 here. Shadow reflections. So you'll have a wailing one, which needs to be tanked. And this one does 1.9 million shadow damage to enemies within 10 yards and grants stacks of crescendo. This will be your ranged ad. Ranged will be on the wailing. Everyone else will be on the shadow reflection. So you'll have Kil'jaeden and a number of different ads up. If you're a melee, you should not be near the mailing one. Right? Yeah, I mean, I'll link all these for you guys as well. Mavros, here. There's Zoranya's links. There's Zoranya's notes. So again, melee, you don't want to be by wailing. You want to be by the erupting. You want to kill that one. So that's the plan there. Fellow Claws is dealing with Rupturing Singularity. You've seen all those things in phase 1. Now, I mean, again, it's ability after ability after ability. It's how well your players can adapt to every single one, and you really just need to call it out. Okay, we have this ability next, and this ability next, and this ability next, going from there to there. Roughly, I believe it's going to be 30-40%. The boss is going to transition into his next intermission, and this is the new technology. So Blizzard actually has new tech designed for a fight like this. Deceiver's Veil, basically, it's going to limit your view distance. So right now we have, view distance to like 1 million. With Deceiver's Veil, you'll only be able to see this far. Like, everything else might be black. Like, it'll be like a really dark black where you can't see much. And the longer you're in this sort of shadow, so in whatever shadow section this is, the more damage you're going to take. Right? Or sorry, the more absorption you're gonna, have healed on you. So you're gonna have a big absorption shield that needs to be healed off before you actually take healing. So it's be tough for your healers. In order to see during that phase, Illidan comes down and he gives you Sightless Gaze. So Illidan might be doing his own RP walk thing, or he follows you around, or whatever. And if you're close to Illidan, you can see. Right? You can see there. And Illidan grants you Sightless Vision, allowing you to see and hit enemies within 40 yards in the darkness, and heal friends, but also granting you overwhelming you with Fel Power, inflicting a little bit of fire damage every 1 second. So the trade-off of being able to see is your eyes burn for a little bit of damage. This damage is fairly inconsequential, very minor heals, HOTS will go through it, but you'll want to get to Illidan ASAP, you'll want to get his buff, and then blow up these Shadow Souls, which are bursting AoE damage to pretty much everybody. You can't avoid these things at all. So that'll be the next intermission. Thankfully, we're not dealing with the other crap, but it should be a fun one. So Blizzard is testing something out. It should be pretty fun. We don't know how it's going to work. There might be, I know the Fat Boss video shows like 9 Shadow Souls, potentially. We don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. And then in the last phase, we may be teleported to another realm, sort of like an Archimond. And then be dealing with those abilities, or we may still be on the ship, but we'll see. One of his first abilities is Darkness of 1,000 Suns, so he throws Shadow Bolts on everybody. I mean, you'll need to use your Devotion or whatever to deal with it. Alternatively, if you're standing close to a rift, it's like a gravity rift here, the missiles get sucked into it. So basically he's going pew, 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 pew. But if you're standing next to a gravity well, like over here, the missiles that are going to me, right, they get to the gravity well instead, and all the missiles are getting pulled into the gravity well, as well as you being pulled in slowly. Similar to Winds or Mistress Sassanaz, for instance. Desolate Host. Where's Desolate Host? Thanks. More Desolate Host. More Demonic Inquisition. But yeah, that is that main ability. Demonic Obelisk, that'll be another one that sort of spawns a big cross. It's going to spawn an obelisk, and if you're standing in a line, good example of that is the Bomberman boss. Bomberman boss in Gate of the Setting Sun. Do you guys remember the Mists of Pandaria dungeon? Let's go back here. Mists of Pandaria dungeons. This one. The very first boss, the Saboteur, he drops little bombs, right? Attaches 4 explosives to the back of a random player. Well, that's different. It was Disable Munitions. There. Similar style, where he'll drop an obelisk somewhere, and it'll explode in a cross, right? You don't want to be hit by that cross. It is massive damage to the entire raid, or whoever gets hit by it, rather. So you don't want to be standing in that obelisk. The other abilities, will be Tear Rift. Again, inflicting 5 million fire damage to all affected players and knocking them back. That is a shit ton of damage. You are going to get yourselves killed there. Tear Rift is the one, the big gravity one, with Gravity Squeeze, where it's pulling people in. Don't be pulled in yourself, right? Does however much damage every 1 second. The amount of inflicted increases the longer the player remains affected by Gravity Squeeze. So if this is the Tear Rift, if you are standing in the rift, you are going to take a massive amount of damage being near the rift, but not actually on it. Flaming Orb is the other one. Flaming Orb is, we're going to call it similar to Garrosh's big sphere. It fixates on a player. It'll fixate the closest player, so exact same as Garrosh. His big metal ball came down, you know, we soaked it, and then somebody kited it around the room, right? Same kind of thing here. It's going to follow that person around. When it explodes, it's going to trigger Flaming Detonation. Does raid-wide damage to all players within 10 yards. To all players within 10 yards. It creates a pool of fire that affects any players. The other ability is the longer the thing's been kiting, the less damage it does. So the longer you kite, the smaller the puddle of flame. If you are standing, let's say this rock again is the puddle where it spawns. If I'm standing right here and it spawns and I don't move, you're gonna have a massive pile. Think Cenarius, that big red crap when the tank gets a full spear on them. Same kind of thing. You want to minimize it so it spawns near me. Hey, great, I'm fixated. I'm gonna start cutting this thing away. Right? We've seen lots of abilities like this. The tanks, for instance, on Blackhand. Garrosh's ability, same thing, kite it away wherever possible. Bursting Dread Flame, you guys saw that on the earlier phases. Focus Dread Flame, same thing, and Fell Claws. So that's sort of the new thing. Flaming Orb will be the one new mechanic for the last phase, as well as, well, a bunch of new mechanics. Flaming Orb, the Rift's Obelisk, and the Darkness of a Thousand Suns. So, there you go. If a player is standing close to darkness, we don't know where it's going to be. I'm sure other guilds may have gotten that far. My recommendation again will be do normals first, especially normal Kil'jaeden before you do heroic Kil'jaeden. So that's it in a nutshell. We've gone through all the bosses. No other questions, and yeah, that's it. So thanks guys for watching our Coach's Corner. I'll answer everybody's questions here as we get to it. Midgets will update this to YouTube. Yay! And hopefully, I mean, we'll share again all of our notes with you guys.